Hey Leo, this is your May 2024 message ahead. Everything that you need to hear, see, feel, and know to make the most out of this month. So interesting. Well, you're calling forth a lot of action. There's definitely something that you wanted that you kind of thought would be instantaneous that isn't turning out to be instantaneous, and you got a little disappointment around that. But you got a lot of action and a little bit of taking on more than you can handle, but also at the same time, it's all stuff that you need and want to do. So it's kind of about expanding your capacity to be able to handle and do more. And there is a little bit, it looks like you've got a little bit of one foot in the old chapter and most of your energy in the new chapter. There are some people in the old chapter of your life that you can call on to like step up and be a little bit more responsible. It doesn't all have to be on you, because you do have to make room for the new chapter. Because it's like, there's just like a little bit of defeat of like, oh, I know I can make this happen, but like, fuck, I don't have the support that I need. So like, I don't know, let's just say you got divorced. Maybe you're still helping like ex-wife with the bills, but like you're running out of time to like, I don't know, pick up a hobby or something that you're doing. You can ask ex-wife like, hey, do you think like, I'll buy the food and all that stuff, but do you think you could like meal prep for me? There's like someone from your past chapter, and more than one person, and it doesn't have to be the ex-wife, okay? But there's more people from your previous chapter of life, meaning people who were either old chapter that you're winding down, or like, you know, like a cousin or a brother, someone from your previous chapter that you can ask for to rely on more so that you have more time for the new chapter. But okay, so for your soul level lesson this month, you got the Judgment card reversed, crossed by the Seven of Air as the challenge. So it's kind of like learning that nothing from your past is worthy of rekindling right now. I hate to be that blunt. There's just, and what, old job, old lover, old school district for kids. It's kind of like sometimes when you move away from something, you kind of forget about all the bad and you kind of just remember the good. Like you kind of have to just come to a conclusion within you that like, nope, since I know that that's how it works in psychology, once you move away from something, you start to glamorize what was really good and forget what was bad. It's like you kind of, it's like right now you want that like filled of possibilities. You want to feel like that free person. But like once you kind of like, nope, that's not an option. Universe guide me to something new. That's your soul of a lesson. That's when life's going to get better for you. Because it looks like the human level lesson. How interesting. You got the Four of Fire reversed. Your human level lesson on the day-to-day is like, it's pretty much like you're never going to hit that full peace, contentment, happiness as long as you keep leaving the door cracked open. Like think of it like it's 100 degrees, 100% humidity outside, and you have the air conditioner on. Would you leave the door open? No, you don't want, you need to keep the house cool. You know, you don't want to spend the extra money to cool the house to 70 with that 100 degrees coming in. So it's kind of like you're never going to be able to be fully content, happy, and satisfied with the right now and moving forward, calling in more until I just recognize like the past is over and I'm not reconciling it. I'm not going back to work at that place again. I'm not going to give that girl who we were on and off for years another chance. Or it might even be admitting that the door to like whoever you were previously dating, like your old type, is just not an option. Like that chapter's closed. It didn't work out. And I saw this really funny, good quote, guys. It was a meme on one of the short form mediums. If you have a type and you've been dating them since your 20s and you're not married at 35, you don't have a type, you have a fetish. You don't have a type, you have a fantasy. You don't have a type, you have a reason to avoid real love. So it's just whatever you thought would be a good match for you, like just isn't. So it's kind of like you just kind of like really need to start to go all in for starting a new chapter. Feel that trepidation, feel that fear, feel that uneasiness for starting a new chapter in your life, but like you got to go all in and start the new chapter. It does look like in the recent past that you definitely felt empowered and like you had control and your life managed to start the new thing you wanted. It was likely love, but it could have been like a hobby passion project too. It was definitely something more on the personal side of life. I don't see too much movement in your career industry. So you definitely thought you had it under control, you had time for it, you could do it, you had it managed. It does look like you rushed in a little bit and you don't quite have the full energy to like maintain it as much as you thought you did. Or maybe you just had like a wrench thrown in there of like, yeah, I have all this time, let's do this thing, whatever that thing was for you. It was like, oh, this thing needs me, so I don't have this much time, I have this much time. I will tell you, going into the near future, you got the Ten of Water upright, which is a great card to get. You have a more sense of fulfillment. Whatever the new thing is that you're doing, it is providing you a sense of like emotional fulfillment and satisfaction and like a feeling of being loved and like a feeling of being desired. Not necessarily like sexually, y'all, but like a feeling of like, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of someone focusing on me to bring me joy. It's like the ability to receive love and feeling like you're worthy of that and deserve it. So, good job, Leo. In terms of your personal power, you got the Ace of Fire reversed. That's funny because you're a Leo. Leos like to go gung-ho, all out there, you know, like, woohoo, let's go, all charismatic and energetic, and you get really gung-ho at the start of a project. Your personal power is like to essentially not do that. Your personal power is to like recognize that it's about the marathon, not the race. What is that like? You may have won this battle, but you didn't win the war. So it's like not to like charge forth and just like try to make it happen overnight, especially if it's a relationship that you're looking for, guys. That one does take time to build, and that one does take time to, even if it's the right person for you and you like know it and you think they know it too, you still got to give it time because like, especially if you're like texting a lot, like maybe the way that they text or like the mood that they're in when they were texting, they might have been like feeling frisky and naughty, but then when you text back 2 hours later, they may have just gotten fired. So when you send back like a naughty text too, they're gonna be like, you know? So text is a hard way to maintain a relationship just because you don't have that pulse for where they are emotionally. So it's like recognizing that it has to be, even if it's the right person, you know it, it is something that like you have to build over time to like, hey, I saw you like shut down last week. Like, what was that about? Because I definitely want you to feel comfortable. Or like, say maybe you wanted like a sugar daddy, sugar mama. You wanted someone with like a lot of money to come in, and they're like, oh, they don't have a lot of income. That means still go out with them again and be like, well, hey, like, you gotta have the conversations, right? Like, hey, like, this is how much I make. This is the kind of life I wanted. It does mean my partner needs to make this much. So I guess I'm a little curious, like, what kind of relationship do you want? Do you like the dynamic I just said? Do you see yourself wanting to increase your income to get there? Like, it takes that time to notice something, and don't just be a Leo and like take it for, oh, that means this, and come to a conclusion. But we want to, oh, this is noted. I need to check back in with them and see about that in a week. Okay. In terms of outside people around you, this is so interesting about your previous chapter of life. Outside influences, there's some people from your past that don't want to change. Like, they don't want to change. They don't want to accept that it's over. They don't want to accept that you're not coming back. They don't want to accept that it's not going to work out. They're not wanting to accept that it's over. But that is kind of because in your hopes or fears, in your hopes or fears section, you got the King of Fire reversed. So it's kind of like your fear is you may not have the energy or the time to get this new thing off the ground. But like I said, it's because you can rely on someone from your either previous chapter or is already established as a reliant source. And like, if it's an ex, it might be like look, I know you may not want me to date, but like, it is over between us. I need to date. I need to take responsibility for your kids. All I'm asking for is 1 day a week that I know you're going to be there to watch the kids. They're your kids too. So it's like that being willing to hold them responsible to like be the bad guy and like say that. Because right now, like you were leaving that door open. I already explained why that like shouldn't be happening. There's just going to be a little bit of a needing to like shut that door. And they're not, just know that they are resistant to the change. And if it's not a romantic one, guys, it might be like your mom and dad don't want you to grow up and get married yet. Hey, mom and dad, I see how much you don't want me to get married, but it needs to happen. So that means on Thursdays, I can't come over anymore, but I'll still be here Tuesdays and Saturdays. Like, you got to be willing to firmly state that. Honestly, guys, if you were hooking up with an ex, the girl in that is always going to think, oh, I know he said it's over, but we hooked up. Girls always get attached when they're sex, dude, unless they're a total hoe bag. Okay, in terms, your hopes and fears, I already said that. You're just like a little afraid that you may not have the energy to make this new project happen. It's that you're like, man, maybe I'm doomed. I don't have the energy or the time to make it happen. Your outcome for the month. Well, your outcome for the month is good. You got the King of Air reverse. So the King of Air reverse is more like, okay, I have a more realistic view of how much time I have to get this off and running. I do have the energy to do it, but like needing to management and like, you know, especially since you guys are Leos, sometimes a project when you go, oh yeah, I'm all in, you exert a lot of energy and then you get depleted, right? It's more about, can you figure out how to go like this? The marathon, not the sprint. So you are going to have all right, I can see how it's possible. I can manage my time better. It looks like you're going to have a little bit of a mental block though, like, but who would want me with this limited time? And like, guys, that's just not true. I've seen people with 4 kids get married and have a happy life again. I've seen, even if somebody's like single with no kids, I would 100% date a person with kids. The idea of like jumping in with kids already there, to already be having that fun with kids and like driving them to their hobby, to their sport, to their thing, like brings me more joy than thinking about me starting a hobby. So like, whether it's someone single, whether it's someone who already, you know, has family, it's, well, here's what I have. Who's the person I'm perfect for, universe? Who's the person who wants someone just like me? Who's the person who can blend right in with my family? Who's the person who can kind of like, after we get our connection established, can just like come right in and we're all happy together. All of our lives are happier with us all together. There might be some like bumps in the road and some adjusting and some fine tuning, but who's the person that just makes our life better and us being us makes their life better? I'm looking for that cohesive harmony. Like, this is all like pre-paving, thinking about like what you want, why you want it, and why it can happen. Those are all thoughts that allow something to come in. Because, all right, Leo, I hope that reading, like, yeah, let's do some advice cards for Leo. Advice cards to make it through this bumpity month. Communicate. You need to work on your communication for sure. Wow, there's a lot of meetings in your advice. If you're starting like a new relationship, whether that be a romantic one or whether that be a work one, they're thinking it's over because you came in all like hot and heavy energy and dropped. Like, oh, okay, it's over. Communication. Hey, I don't want you feeling bad. Listen, when I started dating, here's the amount of time I had. This happened. I have less time, but you got to be able to make the time. Here's how I can make time, though. Is that enough for you? It's that clear communication, because right now there's a little bit of like, you see potential with that person, so you're kind of just assuming they know what's going on in your head, they know what's going on in your world, and you're like, had to like take the kids to school and do this. You're thinking that they know what that means for you in terms of your time availability, when like you actually got to communicate that to you. Hey, can't talk much during the day, but I will call you at this time later today. Like that clear communication. There is also you have to admit that something from the previous chapter of your life is over. And that might mean like final forgiveness of yourself, or, you know, I am sad that relationship didn't work out. I didn't want it to end that way. It's over though. Like, you have to admit to yourself it's over. You have to get someone else to like, it's over. We are never getting back together, or that's no longer an option for me. Yeah, there's something more in this card for you. Hold on, let me tune into it. Or there is a little bit of, for some of you, it will be a forgiveness for yourself for something ending in the past that you now in hindsight realize you could have handled differently. Forgiving yourself for the knowledge that you have now for how you could have handled it, but it's still over. Once you do those two things, you got the Sun card upright, and that is where, that's like soul level happiness, not just, yay, I took my kids to Disneyland. This is like peace, contentment, harmony. You've got a good life. But you got to work on that communication, and you got to work on winding down that last chapter, and then you will be the Sun card upright. All right, Leo, I hope this video helped you. And overall, it is a pretty good read. You've got some bumps in the road and a little bit of learning to do. I hope this helped you. Some ways to work together. I am always live for free in my Facebook group and Facebook business page on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. I call it Intuitive Insights, where I just like to come live. I channel spirit guides for you. I could tap into mine. I could tap into yours, just to give you those epiphanies, those energetic shifts that you start living the life that you want for free. If you would like to book a personal reading, I'm also available for those right now. There's a link for those down below. That's a live Zoom call. You ask as many questions as you want. Most of the time I just channel and you speak directly with the spirit guides. If you are looking to, if you're a do-it-yourself kind of person and like doing self-paced at-home courses, my Law of Attraction course, 5 steps to manifest anything and everything that you want, is currently on sale. It's only $97. That link is also in the description. But feel free to leave a comment. Engagement makes this way more fun for me. Well, have a good month, guys.